And now let us please welcome our second speaker from Bertadine, Dr. Ho Wing Tong, Senior Medical Affairs Manager, to speak with us on the role of povidone iodine in stopping the transmission amidst infectious diseases. Dr. Ho, please. Hi, Dr. Ho, are you there?
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Just to confirm, you guys can see my slide.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Thanks a lot for KB for the introductions and APHA actually for giving us an opportunity to actually present this afternoon. So I'm Dr. Ho Wing Tong from Mundipharma, and some of you might know actually we are carrying a range of products under the umbrella of Betadine, and the main ingredient inside actually is povidone iodine. So for today, for the next 15 minutes, I just like to share with you some of the new data on how we can use this povidone iodines against the COVID virus, which I believe is a hot topic currently ongoing. Yeah, so like Mr. Christopher mentioned earlier, definitely I will say that COVID-19 is one of the key challenges, and actually the transmission risk to HCP dentists actually is very real. Yeah, and therefore when we look at the guidelines, the guidance from the different organizations, definitely there's a lot of people put out the guidance on how we can protect ourselves better. And I will say that one of the key things have been highlighted across the different guidelines and in Singapore or actually overseas is actually for in the dentistry setting. I will say the aerosol generating procedure is definitely one of the higher risks. And the reason is because the virus particle could be found in our oral nasal cavity. And when we are doing these aerosol generating procedures, the aerosol might actually harbor all these virus particles. And let's say it got inhaled, it could actually, the dentist, the HCP might actually gotten the disease. And therefore in the clinics, in the dentist clinic setting, actually this is what have been recommended. I actually grabbed this snapshot from one of the video released by Singapore Dental Associations. They actually recommend to do hand rub with sanitizer before and after the treatment. The patient should actually do the pre-treatment rinsings, pre-procedural rinsing to reduce their mouth of viral load. And also everybody should be masked on at all times, including patients who are not before, after the procedure, and also all the person in the operatory. Okay, so I will say that this is the standard recommendation. Let's say we look at Singapore, we look at MOH Singapore, actually when they issue the guidance, they actually put out a similar recommendation. So 1 minute of the mouth rinse prior to the starting of the procedures. And this could be done by 3 recommended solutions. Yeah, so what is 1% hydrogen peroxide, povidone iodine, which is Betadine, or this CPC oral gargle. So they actually recommended these 3 oral rinse based on the historical data that we have, because they have been shown to be most effective against broad spectrum of viruses. Okay, so let's say we look at povidone iodine specifically. We know that povidone iodine is one of the very potent antiseptics, and actually is derived from combining iodine to a povidone molecule. So the end result versus iodine we know already is one of the most potent antiseptic around, but when combining povidone iodine, we make it actually much more broader spectrum, make it much more tolerable. Because let's say for iodine, it's sometimes very difficult to be gargled because it might causing a lot of irritations. But let's say we combine it to a povidone iodine, we can develop it into something to be used in the oral, or actually sometimes in the feminine hygiene as well. So we can expand the usage and actually have a better tolerability. Betadine also have a very long heritage. So this PBPI molecule have been already universal preferred as iodine disinfectant since a good 60 years ago. And throughout the year, actually we have developed into a range of different antiseptic and formulation available for household use, or actually in the hospital clinic setting for professional use. Yeah, and one of the key benefit of PBPI is definitely broad spectrum. They have been shown to clinically effective to eliminate almost all the different germs, bacterial, viruses that come into contact with these antiseptics. So this is something we're rather confident, And every time, let's say there's an uprising infectious disease like the past SARS, MERS, Ebola viruses, actually our team very quickly, and we do some testing to look at the efficacy of povidone iodine against these viruses. And any single time, might it be SARS in 2003 or MERS issue in 2014, Ebola in 2016, we have shown that povidone iodine could actually effectively eliminate all these uprising viruses. So as you were expected, SARS-CoV-2, the COVID-19 situation now actually is one of the things that everybody is looking at it. Yeah. And therefore, when the issues started to rising in Singapore a few months ago, our team also immediately activated, and actually we contacted our partner in Duke NUS Medical School, and we initiated these studies, which is on to look at the efficacy of povidone iodines against the SARS-CoV-2 viruses, which is the one actually causing the COVID-19 disease. Yep. So what we do, actually we selected some of the product which is already available in Singapore market, including antiseptic solutions. And also, I think more important for the audience today definitely is gargle and mouthwash, and also throat spray, because these are the products have been actually already, even before COVID situation, already have been quite widely used in the dentistry channel. Yep. So we actually, what we do is an in vitro test. So we actually put out these antiseptics, and we actually culture them with the SARS-CoV-2 viruses for 30 seconds. And why 30 seconds? Because this is the typical durations that we do a gargling. And we can look at when MOH to the recommendation actually is 1 minute. So actually we do a even shorter time point at 30 seconds, and we try to look at the killing effect, the virucidal effects of povidone iodine against SARS-CoV-2 virus. And of course, without surprise, I would say without surprise, it because povidone iodine itself already have been shown to be effective against SARS viruses in 2003 and MERS virus actually in 2014. And both this class of the coronavirus has been shown to be closely related with the SARS-CoV-2 virus, which is ongoing as a pandemic now. So I won't be surprised that the study outcome actually show that for all the product we have tested, okay, actually all of them have been shown to actually have a strong virucidal effect within 30 seconds of contact time, with a log reduction of 4 log reduction, which is equivalent to more than 99.99% killing rate. Okay, so for the gargle, against for your interest, because we know that for gargle sometimes the patient doctors might actually dilute it a little bit. So actually we do a 2-time dilution, and again, even with a 2-time dilution, we can actually show the same high virucidal effects of more than 99.99%. So what is the implications from the studies? I think some people will ask whether we can use PVPI to treat the patients. I will say it's definitely not. It's not to be used that way. And the main reason is because one, the virus actually go inside your body. The infection actually is a systemic infection. So the main implication is in your lung. Of course, most of the symptoms in your lung and upper airway. But the infection itself, in fact, is systemic, so it go around your body. So using a topical treatment like our gargle, mouthwash, and throat spray definitely will not be helpful. So when we are recommending the use of Betadine range of product, it's actually more of preventive in a high-risk settings. So for example, again, go back to MOH guidance, they actually recommend to use it as a pre-procedural wash. I would say actually it's a very good use of it, because you actually minimize when you're using our Betadine gargle as a pre-procedural rinse, you can actually reduce the viral load. Now we know it's effective, and actually you can specifically reduce the viral load in the patient oral cavity, and therefore reducing the virus carrying aerosol, and therefore reduce the risk of transmission to the HCP. On the other hand, I would say we will also recommend the HCP, dentists, the nurses also gargle on a frequent basis, because we know that when virus actually get into your mouth, nasal cavity, etc., it actually takes time to penetrate and actually establish the infections. And let's say you actually do a routine garglings 2 or 3 times a day, actually it can help to reduce the risk of transmission of disease. This is yet to be proven to be in the COVID-19 specifically, but in other similar infectious diseases have been shown that frequent gargling with an effective and antiseptic gargle could actually bring down the risk of transmission greatly. You might actually notice that we have a range of product which is on the solutions. This is definitely not for our oral use or actually for our oral disinfectants, but what you can use actually is as a general disinfectants in case you want to clean out your operatory, some of the area with the common contact area with the patients, which is considered high risk. You might actually consider the solution as a disinfectant agent as well. Okay, so something to share with you, something also very interesting is that the study I shared with you earlier, after all, is an in vitro study. So people might have a question, so whether we have shown us clinical efficacy in patients. So in Singapore, under National University Hospital, they actually are quite convinced that by using a strong antiseptic gargle or throat spray might actually have an effect in reducing the transmission among the high-risk worker. And therefore, the investigator actually led by Dr. Raymond Seed from NUH actually started this trial, what they call the DOME trial. And what they are doing, actually, they selected a group, 4 different kind of treatment which is already available in Singapore, and they actually look at their efficacy in reducing a transmission in the high-risk dormitory workers. Okay, and povidone iodine throat spray, we are quite gladly that actually, after reviewing the evidence, they're actually selecting povidone iodine throat spray as one of the study arm. And to date, actually, about 1,000 these foreign workers already have been recruited, and they are started on this PVPI throat spray treatment 3 times a day for actually 6-week periods. Okay, so the study is currently ongoing, and the expected outcome is actually should come out sometime in early August. So I think this is something quite rather interesting. And let's say you are interested about this study, this is a space you might actually follow up very closely as well. So with that, let's say we go back again to MOH guidance on the usage of the different gargles or different antiseptics as a pre-procedural mouth rinse. I will say that although in the guidance, there's no differentiation among the different antiseptic gargles, but what we can clearly see now is that povidone iodine actually is the one actually have been shown and proven to be effective against COVID-19 virus. And I will actually suggest this should be your antiseptic of choice in case this is your concern in your clinics. Okay, and on top of that, let's say we're reviewing some other guidance, like for example, this one from NES Singapore. Again, PVPI is actually recommended as a surface disinfectant in the high-risk area. And this actually suggests how versatile povidone iodine is. It's actually gentle enough to be used in the oral cavity and the upper airway, but at the same time, it also is strong enough to be even used as a disinfectant in the general high-risk area like tabletop, operatory, etc. So actually, it's a very versatile product. It's coming in different, various different formulations, and it's something that you might consider. Let's say this is something if you really want to look at reducing the transmission in your clinical settings. So one thing actually, just sidetrack a little bit. So beside the petadine range of products, beside the PVP range of product that I shared with you earlier, actually we do have the other range of product, which is actually have the same antiviral property. And actually it's coming in a nasal spray, and this is what our betadine co-defend nasal spray. So the active ingredient inside, as I mentioned, it's not povidone iodine, but actually it's a broad spectrum antiviral molecule, which is what we call the carrageenose or carrageenan. It has been shown that, let's say you use it on the patient with cold-like or flu-like symptoms at the first sign of the symptoms, it can actually help to reduce the symptoms, and actually the patient might recover faster. Okay, so most of the study for this co-defense currently actually is done on the cold and flu-like viruses. Okay, but again, I think it also shown to be very useful during this pandemic situation, because I believe everybody is actually is a little bit alert of all these cold or symptoms. Let's say you've got a cold, you might be worried, oh, whether I got a COVID disease or not. So I would say actually, after all, although this product haven't been shown to be truly effective for COVID, but again, it's a prevention and no harm treatments, which you can actually just a way to actually help you to maintain and actually improve your overall health. And therefore, actually, it might actually have got some indirect protection effects against COVID virus as well. Okay, so in summary, I think the key message, bring home message is very clear. So betadine antiseptic range of products have demonstrated a significant in vitro virucidal activity, which is more than 99.99% against SARS-CoV-2 virus in just 30 seconds of contact time. And the product we have tested, including antiseptic solutions, gargle and mouthwash, and also the throat spray. And as I point out to you, there's actually a specific clinical study which is currently ongoing and look at the prevention of transmission of the COVID-19 between the high-risk worker. And with this strong data, it's not surprising that povidone iodine has been endorsed and actually recommended by multiple guidelines for the transmission prevention of COVID-19. So with that, I will end my session here. I thanks a lot again for your attention and your time joining us for these sections. In case you have any questions, you can always reach out to us. For medical related questions, you can actually reach out to me. For sales related questions, you can go to Jaslyn, which is our Singapore sales manager for betadine. So I will end here. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Dr. Ho. If anybody has any further questions, please contact Dr. Ho directly via the email address.